Phoenix FM, where only the best is good enough. My name is Constance, and I'm with you all the way up to 15 hours, making sure that you are having a beautiful afternoon. Now, we are going to begin talking about the progress and momentum towards the PPDF Media Private Sector Day. And joining us today are Mr. Costa Mwansa, co-chair of the PPDF Media Technical Working Group, and Ms. Francesca Phiri, Acting Director for Strategic Communication and Partnership at the Public-Private Dialogue Forum, which is the PPDF. They will share insights from the first quarter Media Technical Working Group meeting, discuss the next steps for the stakeholder engagement, and highlight the upcoming Media Private Sector Day. So you can just stay tuned as they outline key outcomes and opportunities for businesses to participate and what to expect from this important national platform for public-private collaborations. Mr. Mwansa and Ms. Francesca Phiri, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to your listeners, Constance, and thank you for having us.
Awesome. All right, so I'll start with you, Mr. Mwansa. Could you briefly explain about the Media Technical Working Group meeting, focused on what you focused on and the key outcomes from that engagement?
Well, thank you very much. So firstly, before I go into really the key aspects of what Q1's Technical Working Group meeting was all about, just a brief framework or background about what our TWG, or the Technical Working Group on Media, does. We need to commend this administration and especially the work being done at the PPDF. This is the very first time that media has a sit at the table and having its own technical working group. Previously, we used to sit under the ICT technical working group. So now we have a dedicated working group that strictly deals with media issues, looking at media sustainability and really the growth from a legal and policy framework in terms of where the media industry is going. And I'm privileged to be the first co-chair of that media technical working group, sitting alongside with government, with the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Media and Information. Back to the Q1 or quarter one meeting. Obviously, we're doing a recap of the fact that we just had the 2025 end of year private sector day on the 13th of December at Mulungushi, where as new technical working groups and co-chairs, we were given a privilege to make presentations on the progress that had been made in the year we were closing, and obviously highlights in terms of what we were projecting to focus on and really achieve in 2026. So basically, we were tying in on issues that were unresolved from 2025, but for 2026, I think key among the areas of interest are really looking at a number of legal aspects of reforms within the media. We are aware that the Independent Broadcasting Authority just had their new act passed and assented to by the President around the 23rd of December. We are now sitting to work on regulation, that is SI, to operationalize these acts. We now have, for the longest time now, the ZNBC Act amended with a charter being put in place. And as private sector, we're also having an input on that. We're looking forward, as we get into the second quarter as well, to submit to the technical team that is working on the 2027 budget. Obviously, we're looking for certain incentives and certain aspects of policy reforms insofar as taxation or just generally commercial elements that would help incentivize the sustainability of the media industry. Key among other issues as well is the partnerships that we've had among members within the technical working group, the Media Owners Association of Zambia, of which I'm privileged to be president. We signed end of I think early this year, actually, in February, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Zambia Institute of Marketing, I think trying to bridge aspects really of mainstream media with the commercial elements of advertising. And so that is a milestone. Sitting also on this technical working groups, civil society such as the Media Trust Fund. We've got the Bloggers Association of Zambia that sits on this committee. We've got academia as well, Zamcom and others. So it's an array of various sector interest groups that sit in this working group, just trying to enhance the direction of the industry. So it's been quite a fruitful quarter one.
Perfect. I'll move to you, Ms. Francesca Phiri. PPDF has been engaging said stakeholders across sectors ahead of the mid-year private sector day. How have these engagements progressed, and what momentum is building towards that particular event?
Thank you. So the Public-Private Dialogue Forum is actively engaged with stakeholders across key sectors with strong participation and input. The forum was set up in 2022, just a background. It was launched in 2022 by President Hakainde Hichilema. And the main idea behind that was to bring together the private sector as well as government to unlock the bottlenecks that are being faced in the various sectors. And so far, as the PPDF, we have 10 technical working groups, and various sector media include. So we've got agriculture, ICT, we've got energy, we've got gender and division. We also have mining. Today we actually had a technical working group on mining and various other sectors. By the end of this year, we will be up to 13 technical working group. And currently, we are in the process of setting up the education technical working group. The health technical working group was launched 2 weeks ago. And so the two other technical working group that will be set up is the infrastructure technical working group as well as the education technical working group. So now momentum is building towards the Media Private Sector Day. You may have noted that the last 4 years we've been having it in December. That this year we have it in June to allow this to happen before the election, so that the private sector can come and report to President Hakainde Hichilema on some of the reforms that have been made in the last 4 years. And we have 168 reforms that were made through the dialogue between government and the private sector. So the content creation has started towards the day, and we're capturing sector insights and success stories, which you'll be able to see on that day, on the 11th and the 12th of June 2022. Resource mobilization as well is underway to support the event, and stakeholders interested in supporting or sponsoring as well as partnering with the PPDF are being invited to come on board. We have the preparatory meetings that are shaping a focused solution-driven agenda for the Media Private Sector Day. This year, it will be a 2-day affair. On the 11th of June, we'll have panel discussions, different sectors, talking about some of the bottlenecks that have been unlocked. And that is what they'll be reporting on now on the next day, when President Hakainde Hichilema will come and be a guest of honor at the day.
Okay. And for stakeholders who may not yet have participated in PPDF dialogue, is there still an opportunity to submit issues or proposals, and how can they also get involved?
So PPDF dialogue meetings operate on an open door basis, and all stakeholders are welcome to participate. There's still ample opportunity for stakeholders to submit the issues as well as proposals and reform recommendations, which will be tabled in the different sectors, technical working groups, where government and the private sector, we do have co-chair and the chair for each technical working group. So the chair comes from government, and then the co-chair, like Mr. Mwansa here, comes from the private sector. And all those issues are tabled and then moved along. So for those policy issues, they're taken to government. And if it's issues to do with the law, to cabinet office. If it's issues to do with law, it's then taken to parliament, where it's debated and now turned into law. So that is what we're doing. So we're encouraging participation from both the formal and informal sector players to ensure inclusive dialogue by being part of the PPDF. I'll be giving details on how they can get in touch with us at the end of the program.
And how is PPDF ensuring engagements are inclusive, especially for businesses outside Lusaka and those operating in the informal sector?
So we're doing that through radio, and that's why we're here today. We're also very soon we'll be starting going around in the different provinces, because we do know that the different sectors are not just in Lusaka. And so we'll be going around on a countrywide mission to make sure that it is all inclusive for people to bring in their submissions. So we're doing partnerships with associations as well as local structures that are helping to bring in the previously excluded groups. We also have the digital platforms that are being used to widen access and participation. We do have our Facebook page, PPDF Zambia, and we also do partner with Diamond Media and other media institutions like the ZNBC, ZANES, to communicate on our behalf whenever we have engagements to do. So we make sure that we do that. And then we also engage members in the diaspora, ensuring that their perspectives in investments interests are also included.
Perfect. Now, what can participants expect from the panel discussions at the Media Private Sector Day, and how will these discussions contribute to shaping and to those individuals?
So like I mentioned earlier, the Media Private Sector Day will be a 2-day affair, and participants can expect a high-level, solution-oriented panel discussion featuring both public and private sector leaders. Panel will also focus on key reform areas as well as sector-specific priorities raised through stakeholder engagements. And we're going to make our discussions very interactive in order for us to allow participants to contribute their insights as well as practical recommendations. And the outcomes from these panels now will feed directly into policy recommendations and reform action points.
I hear you. Okay. Mr. Mwansa, as the media co-chair, what are your personal expectations for this year's media PSD in terms of collaboration, progress, and solutions for businesses, for business challenges?
Thank you so much. I think for me, again, it's a good stepping stone that the Media Technical Working Group has been formulated. The expectations, not only for me as an individual, but I think from the sector, is more progress. We need to start unlocking policy bottlenecks, especially in the statutory side of things. There has been discussion on the table around how do we really incentivize or create incentives for the media, as a business, and that is the key agenda that we're driving. But also at the private sector day, I'm happy that the number of technical working groups are increasing across infrastructure, health, education now that is going to be introduced. You've got ICTs and all that. But the bedrock for all the progress and all the KPIs being targeted or the achievements being made across all these sectors, in the midst of it needs effective communication. And I think that's where the media plays a huge role, and that we've always been considered to be at the back seat of all of it. I always give this example, even when protocols or salutations are given, it's always members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. But if we have to be at the forefront of ensuring that whatever successes are being recorded in the banking technical working group, in the health, and highlighting it through effective communication, I think if we put media at the center of everything, then the ecosystem in the value chain of what PPDF is trying to achieve then will be a testament of what we're doing. So we look forward to the fact that we'll continue on the progresses being made. Lastly, for me, it's also the fact that media is transitioning from the traditional side more into what we call a creative digital economy. There's something that the Technical Working Group is working on in line with the Ministry of Commerce and Trade. It's aspects to do with SI number 68, if I'm not mistaken, on local content. We're bringing that as well into the media side of it to try and drive more of local content production within the value chain of what we're doing by using the Zambia Institute of Marketing Act. So it's things like allowing for more young Zambians in the creative space to participate, whether you're a model, you're a graphic designer, you're a photographer, you are a voiceover artist. If there's work in the commercial space, we want to promote local job creation, but also export local through local talent, but also provide tourism opportunities in that we're able to use local aesthetics, be it our traditional setups or our fabrics for designers, and then make adverts for commercial entities. In that, we're promoting tourism, but we're also giving jobs and adding to the country's GDP. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Awesome. Now, this has been a long time coming, both the setting up of the PPDF and, of course, the media actually sitting there. And during the media, so I'll ask this question to you, Mr. Mwansa. For the layman who, yes, we've heard there's PPDF, but you sort of don't really understand how do I get affected, or why should I be part of PPDF, or even just take interest? So if you could just elaborate for that person out there that's wondering, like, what is PPDF to the normal human being out there moving around?
maybe from an individual point of view, it may be a bit difficult, but I think every individual belongs to some sort of grouping. And like Francesca was saying, whether you're in the informal sector, that is SME or SMME, or whatever level of business you're doing, whether it's clubs and so on, if you get organized into a cluster, whether you're cooperatives, there are certain challenges because you don't, when you're operating as businesses or whatever it is that you're doing, you operate within laws that are formulated or administered by government. So just like media, or whether health or education or whatever industry or sector you're in, there are certain challenges that are very difficult for you to fight as an individual. So to put it in an example, I mean, if I am a trader, okay, I'm a trader and I'm dealing, for example, even in mobile money.
Yes.
As an individual, I may not be happy about tariffs that have been introduced in the budget or certain taxes and so on. If I belong to maybe the ICT, so if we group together and go and belong into a certain grouping that will represent us and we become members of, for example, the ICT or the Telecoms Technical Working Group, our submissions and our views then will be presented to government, and what I think the PPDF does is prepare a table of mediation for a win-win. It's not for private sector or government to win, but they will have a table where your ideas, your submission, or for your voice to be heard. And so for me, why is this important? Because previously, those in private sector did not have a table to engage government openly.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just about engaging government openly. What these private sector days, like the one that is coming up soon, do is sort of an evaluation or a midterm review in terms of the things you set out to do. Have we achieved them? If we have not, what are the bottlenecks? And this is what the private sector or the PPDF does. If you have got a bottleneck with the tax authority, they'll bring ZRA to the table. If you've got an issue with a regulator, they'll bring that regulator to the table. And so you have a mediator, a powerful arm that is reporting directly actually to the head of state as part of their milestone. So what better way of accountability if as an individual you group up together within your sector or industry, present your challenges to government, you negotiate, you have influence over policy, you have influence over reforms. I think that's what I would say.
Perfect. Okay, finally, what message do you have for the private sector and the general public as we approach the event? You can take it, Ms. Phiri.
So, the Media Private Sector Day, this year's theme, it's driving jobs and shared prosperity, private sector, steering development and growth. So we'd like to call on the private sector as well as cooperating partners to come on board, register by going to our website, cabinet.gov.zm. You can register to be a participant. This is an all-inclusive event, and so we would like to partner with you. Also, we do have different packages if you'd like to be a sponsor and get more visibility of your sector or your organization, your company. If you want more visibility at the event, where we expect over 2,500 delegates, you can just call us or email at info@ppdf.gov.zm to get more details on that. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for coming through and sharing this information with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Awesome. You're still on Phoenix FM, where only the best is good enough. I do hope that you have heard and you will ensure that you be part of this because it affects each and every one of us. Stay tuned and do not touch that dial.